also share, who's going to share his ideas with us as keeping health with our mind, body, and soul / spirit. I like to put those two together and those words together. A lot of people don't understand the connection of those words, but that simply portrays the individual's mental, physically, and emotional being. And with us reading a little bit on your book, it focuses on all of those things. So I'm going to have you, we're going to break that so much down. What I would like for to know first off is, how did you, come into the point where you wanted to write about the love and body?
I think I'd been seeing clients for, let's see, I'd been seeing clients for about 30, 35 years. Had done, maybe been in front of maybe 75,000 people, maybe at that point, doing talks and workshops. Lots of people from all over the country had seen my counsel, and I realized it was time to put things on paper and write a book about things I'd learned.
Great.
So that was in 2011, 12, 13. My son helped me write my first edition of the book. And then over the last number of years, I realized there were things I wanted to say that I didn't say in the first edition.
Yes.
I wrote 6 new chapters, and then that second edition came out a few months ago.
Awesome.
So, like, when you actually went back and evaluated your work, like you said, you wrote your first book back in 2013, and then you were able to break down those six different chapters from that point on. Right. Is there one particular chapter that you actually felt that you needed to really enlighten more of, that you needed to share more attentions onto that aspect of the healing?
I wouldn't say. There were 6 different chapters that I realized I hadn't included in the first edition. Mm-hmm. I realized I was doing an awful lot of work with people. I mean, first of all, there's a distinction that the book makes, which is there's health, and what is that, and how do we accomplish that? And the first half of my book is looking at the immune system and digestion and your spine and what is health versus disease management. And then the second half of the book is on healing. So I realized after the book came out, was very well received, that there was a lot of coaching and discussions I was having with people on the nature of communication. That whether it's couples and intimacy, whether it's people and their cancer or their allergies and now their fear of COVID, that there's a world that people don't appreciate.
Yes.
And so in the chapter on communication, and now there's one radio show on my website that talks about that one chapter. So the chapter on communication is making a distinction between information exchange mm-hmm. is different than communing, is different than connecting. Taking vitamins, eating less of this, eating more of that, getting yourself adjusted, doing acupuncture, drinking herbs, that's different than feeling connected. So that then opened up that there's another chapter just on connection, that we are multidimensional human beings. And, you're connected to the car seat, but maybe you weren't aware of your bum on your car seat until I just brought your attention there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We're connected to the earth, but we might not have any awareness of our relationship to the earth. And so in the chapter on connection, I wanted to speak about and then add meditations and writing exercises that in my work, one-on-one, in a 21-day Love Your Body program that I do online once a month, there's a lot of what are you connecting to and what are you disconnecting to? I'm going to give up sugar. I'm disconnecting from eating sugar. I'm disconnecting from coffee. Okay, yes. This isn't about never drinking coffee the rest of your life. This isn't about never having sugar the rest of your life. So are you about to take a sip of your coffee? Good.
talks about coffee.
Right. Yeah. So this is about awareness and choices. It's not about this is the right rule and this is the wrong rule. I mean, I understand that sells a lot of books and a lot of people make eat this, everyone should be paleo and no one should do coffee and everyone should stay away from dairy. And so that's good for some folks. I'm not saying that's wrong. It's just not what I'm called to write about and speak about. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm called to, long answer to your question, sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Go ahead.
Tickle people and provoke people to get curious about, if you want my help with your arthritis and you want my help with your hormones and you want my help with your weight and you want my help with your preventing cancer and you want my help with your allergies or your asthma or your colitis or your migraines, fill in the blank, whatever it is. You know, what is it that I might be able to connect them to rather than believing what I believe, like I have some cornerstone on the truth. Sorry, don't. I just don't. I don't. But I've loved learning the last 45 years, and I imagine the next 20, 30 years that I'm still in my body, I'll continue to learn how to create structures, environments for people to connect to their own capacity to heal, rather than what I'm telling them. So now I know a few things about vitamins and minerals and herbs and homeopathics. I've been doing for 45 years. I'm always learning more about that natural world. Mm-hmm. But my intention in love is not to leave people 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 visits later being a cheerleader for naturopathic medicine and for how great vitamins and herbs are. Right. I mean, my intention is for people to be deeply inspired by their own capacity for healing. And where does that come from? And if that means you eat a little less of that, and if that means you eat a little more of this, and if that means for a month or 2 or 3 or 6, you take a few supplements here or there, great. And they're crutches. It's okay. It's okay. But we're not just believing. I ask people, are you spiritual? And some people will say, well, I go to church all the time. Well, I know from the Baptist church that I occasionally go to, because I sing a lot of gospel. And the guy who's been leading this gospel choir, a lot of white folks who are trying to sing gospel. He's the gospel choir director in this fabulous church in the hood in Boston with this wonderful, I'm not Baptist, sorry, I'm not Baptist.
Oh, no, you're okay, yeah.
But when you go to his service, we're not talking about Christ being risen if it's Easter. He's got his singers and the band. It's like an experience of being uplifted. No, I'm not saying that the Congregationalists and the Unitarians and the Episcopalians are missing something, but I could. But I'm saying, but what I'm saying is, what I love to do when I am knee to knee with somebody, and now it's via Zoom, I see people, consult with people all over the world, even if I'm talking about detoxing or heavy metals or hormones, people don't remember what you tell them with facts. People remember how you make them feel, right?
Yes. And
so, long answer to the chapter that I love, new chapter on communication, was to tickle and tickle people and provoke them to see that communication can be a tool for healing. Like, how are you listening to yourself? Okay, that's a big piece of my whole 21-day online program, is that people take their drugs. I don't want to take drugs. I want to take vitamins or herbs. Now people take their vitamins and herbs. They're not listening to what the message is of their symptom. So the chapter in my book is to open up. It's not wrong to say, I'm really uncomfortable, I'm in pain. Could you help me with that hip or that menstrual cramp or that headache? It's never bad to say, I'd like to be more comfortable. But I'm in a model where our body is always speaking poetry. It's always sending us signals. And we cannot hear those signals with herbs and vitamins just as easily as we can not hear them with drugs.
Right.
So it's more about relationship. And hence I wrote this chapter on connection. We are multi-dimensional beings. You know, how can we connect one another with our differences? You know, you go to a different church, or you had a different background, you grew up in a different state, you know, and how can we both use a rock or a tree or a sunset, common denominators in nature, and then use that to help us deal with the challenges of our allergies and our weight and whatever.
Yes. That's great. I love how you actually just expressed that and actually made it very easy for us to consume it and understand it. Because a lot of people really don't understand how relationships, or how to, you know, take the knowledge they learn from one another and how it actually can impact or better their lives. You look great.
No, because if you were in the room where I'm speaking to you, it's my office, and there
Excellent.
There are a few books. Did you see a few books?
Yeah. Couple of them, not that many. You know, only like
2 or 3.
like,
as in hundreds of books in my library. And I grew up and trying to deal with my wounds of my childhood, thinking that if I could just figure it out, if I could just understand it, I'd be successful.
Yes.
And then somehow I realized, after meditating for a long time, and meditation in those days was just thinking and thinking and thinking. I don't know if I was really meditating. There was something about stop trying to figure it out.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, am I open to having a miracle show up in my life? And if I try to explain that miracle, I'm going to take it out of the category of being a miracle. Because as soon as you explain a miracle, it's no longer a miracle.
Very good.
So I'm working in a context of how do I offer people, in the busyness of their lives and their children and their marriages and their relatives, and people are living and dying and trying to deal with COVID, how do I get them to slow down so they can tap into the extraordinary miracle without, it's like we're all in California, it's all airy-fairy, it's not real. You know, how do I make it real for them? And then maybe eat a few more of this or a little bit of that, not for the rest of your life, not like we're going to be born again, you know, like most people relate to diets like a religion. You know, it's like, you got to eat what I'm eating. Well, maybe, maybe not.
I love how you express those things, and it does make sense in everything that you're saying. So what I would like to say is that you brought up how you have all these books in your library, and how when you were young, you know, you were trying to
get smart.
Yeah, exactly. So is your book, what I want to say, is this a life event? Is this like a journey that you actually experienced yourself and you found the answer, and now you're expressing it to everyone else? Because it seems like you said, in your childhood, you also was in this predicament, you know, in this issue. So as you were growing up, is this something that you experienced?
Yeah. So I appreciate the irony that you're pointing out. Here I am disrespecting books, and oh, by the way, you have to read mine. The universe that I've been playing in, one of the universes I've been playing in, is a universe of something called transformation. And as I've done workshops, hundreds, thousands of hours, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, lots and lots of therapy and teachers and shamans, I've been involved in experiences where I was able to watch my mind, big parentheses, now meditations are working. So whenever this was 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, all of a sudden, oh, now I'm able to get outside my mind, and I'm actually able to look at where I'm really attached. You know, where does my ego demand that I be right? It's more valuable than diamonds. Jesus, if I could be right, what else would I possibly need? Isn't that the best thing in the world?
Yes.
Right?
Uh-huh.
No. As one of my teachers said, would you rather be right or would you rather be in love?
Mm-hmm.
When
Amen to that, brother.
when you guys have your next just one of you look at each other and say, Dr. Taylor said, would you rather be in love or right? And then one of you will surrender. Okay, no charge for that. So in the world of transformation, it's not about objective truth. It's about a point of view. So I had experiences in my past. Let's see, I'm 70 years old now. So sometime around 40 years ago, when I was about 30, lots of therapy, lots of 2-3 week silent meditation and yoga retreats, lots of different workshops. And I was still, well, I'm still learning an enormous amount. But to your point, I had an internal shift inside where I realized that understanding was the booby prize. I realized that the structures of my mind, I didn't show you this wall. I only showed you that wall and that wall. The hundreds and hundreds of books that my ego was gobbled up and loved. It's not like I don't read anymore, but the orientation of thinking that if I could just figure it all out. So when I really got that what I was looking for in terms of deeper peace, or to find a path for me to be able to contribute in a huge way to other people, was, even though in college I was on my way to divinity school and I thought that's what I wanted to do, I realized that my calling as a human being, my life purpose, had nothing to do with starting a religion, had nothing to do with telling people what the truth is. Because I had, around 30 years old, I began to hear within myself and in other structures, other workshops, that it was more than the truth is going to piss you off, but it might set you free. It was more like, wait a second, this isn't like gravity and your liver's on your right side and you got 2 lungs and, you know, your heart. We're not talking about that kind of truth. We're talking about in the realm of being spiritual beings.
Yes.
From that point of view, remembering that I was involved in comparative religion, so I was very involved with Buddhism and Hinduism and mystical Judaism and also just unbelievable, phenomenal stuff that Jesus was saying, but really looking at symbolism and metaphors. And I realized that religions were structures that human beings made to have human beings access spirit. And then something happened. Human beings started killing one another because they believed different religions. Like, how did that happen? You know?
Right.
So in my work, I started to ask people, they would come in for an ovarian cyst or for breast cancer or for this, and they wanted herbs and vitamins. And I would do that. And somewhere in the first or second visit, I would say something like, are you a spirit? Do you consider yourself a spiritual person? And some people would get the question. Some people would not get the question. They would say, I go to church. And I'd have to say, no, I didn't ask if you were religious. Because if you're spiritual, maybe you go to church, maybe you go to temple, maybe you don't. You could be spiritual and go on hikes, or, you know, you could go on spiritual and eat a pint of ice cream every day. You know, there's no way being spiritual has to look. So to answer your question, my love is getting people to tap into their power, parentheses, not be afraid of it, in a loving, compassionate way. Sometimes a lot of us are afraid of our power. and for people to appreciate that we've all been sculpted by our parents, our grandparents, our religions. They had beliefs. Our parents were or weren't alcoholic. Our parents were or weren't, strict. They did or didn't hit us. And we all have issues that we're now embracing as a way of rebelling against what they stood for, or my daddy said this, my mommy said this, and I want to be just like them. And that seems the way it is for most of us, at least most of us in the West. I haven't spent a lot of time in Africa or Asia, but, and all over Europe, regardless of religions and skin color, most of us are unbelievably shaped by our families. And we either want to take on the values of our mother and father, or given who they were, thank you for giving me life, but we rebel against them. Thank you.
Exactly.
That might have worked for you, but it doesn't work for me.
Exactly.
So
That's so
rather
good.
than that being, I'm going to answer you, rather that being in a, mom, dad, you did that wrong, I'm going to show you, I'm going to do it right. What I'm offering people, whether they sit on a cushion and meditate or not, is not, you don't have to. And whether they give up meat and dairy and coffee, you don't have to. How do we tap in to the things in the second half of my book? Trust. My experience is that most people trust others more than they trust themselves. They trust their doctors, they trust their parents, they trust their grandparents, we trust all sorts of people. And I'm glad I have an auto mechanic because I'm not very good under the hood. But I'm talking about if somebody, my goal is not for somebody to trust me only. My goal in them doing my online program is for me to really guide them at whatever level they start the program to trust their own capacity. I know the programming. Well, people who have Lyme don't get over Lyme, and people who have this don't get this, and this is what my doctor, and then all of a sudden, all these beliefs come up in their head, which they don't see or beliefs, they think are truths.
Right. Okay.
The doctor said it.
Right.
So the chapters in my book are to guide people. They're not meant to be the workbook of my 21-day experience. My 21-day experience is online. About 18,000 people have done it. I do it most every month. It's pretty inexpensive. It's a couple of $100. I throw in a book if you need a copy of my book. Some people read my book. However, in 1981, when I created my Love Your Body program, it originally was a detox because I have a lot of background. As we went through it, people don't need to do it as a detox now. A lot of people do it as, I'm going to take 3 weeks and eat cleaner. So maybe drink coffee or have ice cream or a steak. But you could even eat all that doing the program, because what I'm guiding people through is 3 of the things in the book. Thank you guys for looking at it at all on my website.
Yes.
Yes.
All the profit of my book goes to a nonprofit that I support. So I don't make any money from the sale of my book when people order it on my website. And the 3 things that we do in my Love Your Body program is, 1, I offer them to practice the first weeks of mindfulness, beginning to witness rather than just go all your thoughts and all your feelings, and you don't realize that those are interpretations. So I'm coaching people in witnessing. The second week, I'm coaching people in trust, we just said. So there's a chapter in my book on trust. And in the 3rd week, I'm asking people to dive in and explore the nature of compassion and forgiveness.
Wow, that's deep.
So there are a lot of people. Now, it's not every woman who has an abortion or a miscarriage. It's not every little boy or girl who's got a very strict alcoholic father. It's not everybody who's got arthritis has had a rigid parent. And we are multidimensional, energetic beings. So when people go through a forgiveness process where it can never be you should forgive, it's you could forgive.
Yes.
You can't make it a moral imperative you'll be a better person if you forgive. It doesn't work. You're going to need 3, 4, 5 years of therapy to work that out. But if you create a safe environment and you offer people the possibility of how do you release the resentment or the grief or the hopelessness or the programming that's in your tissue, you might relate to your body different and dissolve weight as an issue for the rest of your life. You won't have to count calories. Oh my God. Thank you. That was great.
Yes.
So there are a lot of experiences that I ask people to play with and not learning them like you got to understand this. You got to know it like I do. No. It's like I'm a human being. I'm just offering you something to learn with me, and I've been blessed since 1981. There's a program that I'm in the middle of now. People are signing up for the program that begins in 3 weeks from now.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing the light on that. And I do want to bring up, we did go to your website and I did check out some of the chapters in your book. And one of the ones you mentioned that it's not so much as taking care of ourselves, but how when we take care of ourselves, it reflects on our furry, loving friends, our animals as well. So I really love that because I'm an animal lover. I've had pets all throughout my life. And I'm like, man, it does. If you keep yourself happy and you keep yourself great and healthy, it's going to reflect on everyone around you, your loved ones, and then also the pets that you have. Cuteness. It's so much cuteness. Oh my God, how cute. But yes, if we keep ourselves healthy, we'll reflect on our furry friends, and I love that you brought that up. That is awesome. So, oh my God, he's super cute. What is his name? What's the name?
Her name is Honey. She's 16.
Oh my gosh. She's awesome. But yes, I do love how you brought that up. That was just a gift to me because I was like, oh my God, all those dog lovers out there, they need to hear that, yes, we have to keep ourselves healthy. We have to keep everything around us healthy or whatever. So yes, thank you so much.
Yeah.
But before we I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, bye, honey.
He's like, you're talking about me.
All of my Love Your Body programs, not necessarily my one-on-one sessions, I always ask people to pause and reflect that what we're learning together, what we're integrating, what we're asking ourselves to be gifted and integrate is both for ourselves and always for others.
Yes.
That as I get healthy, as I get clearer, as things open up and flow better for me, it is so that I can be of more service to others. It's so that around me, other people can heal. And I always start with a prayer that how you are, and it doesn't mean you can't be sick, and it doesn't mean you can't be afraid. It's the interrelationship in the chapter on connection affects our animals. We not only receive this unbelievable unconditional love from our dogs and cats and horses or whoever four-leggeds we want to hang out with. And my girl Honey is quite a sweetheart. But it's also that we ask that as I help get over these headaches, as I help find out how to disappear extra weight as a problem for myself, as I get over my allergies, as I learn how to deal with cancer, as I learn to feel more confident in my immune system so I'm not afraid of COVID.
Yes.
How do I do that and know that it's not just for me, it's always for the community. It's always for the people in the churches and temple and work. It's always for the people that I both interact with and that I don't even know. Just I'm putting it out as a prayer.
Yes, thank you so much. And I don't mean to, because I definitely love what you're saying, but we are in the last seconds of our, so please tell our fans, where can we find you at? Like if they're looking for you, not so much as where can they find your book at?
So my website is www.drbarrytaylor, just DR, no space, no period, my first and last name, BARRY, Taylor.com. And there's videos and TV shows and radio shows and podcasts, and my book is there. You can read parts of my book there. If anybody is not sure they want to do something and they noodle around, you can send me your email address. For instance, this Monday night, I think that's called tomorrow night because we are on a Sunday. And but
Yes, sir. That's correct.
in the future. So tomorrow night, I'm doing a free Zoom call for about 45 minutes, not to discuss the pros and cons of the vaccination. Not doing that. I am going to talk to people about what they might do before the vaccination, after the vaccination, and things they can do to keep their immune system strong. And that'll be a free Zoom call. So I do things like that all the time. If any of the listeners want to send me your email address, then people can sign up and do all sorts of things that are free. So my website is drbarrytaylor.com.
Thank you so much.
Mr.
Thank you so much. And
Dr.
we appreciate everything that you have done. Thank you so much for your time here
Yes,
on
sir.
Musicap. Again, we are interviewing the one and only Dr. Barry Taylor. Has a book coming out saying Love Your Body. Please go and get it. And thank you again for your time.
You're welcome.
You have a wonderful day.
Blessings. Be safe.
Thank
Bye.
you, Dr. Taylor.
Bye.
Wow, that was a heck of a deal, guys. You guys are doing some really cool stuff here. Holy smokes.
Oh, thank
Thank you.
you.